There are millions of videos on YouTube teaching you how to start a clothing brand, but I promise you none of them will share with you the exclusive industry tips I have to share with you in this video. What I have to share with you are insights and lessons about starting a clothing brand that you could quite literally only ever discover in hindsight, having already built your own brand, having already been through the experience. So I don't want to just share with you the step-by-step of how to start a clothing brand. Honestly, it's pretty obvious. You come up with the idea, you make some clothing, and you try and sell it. What I want to share with you in this video are the little nuances and details that will save you so much wasted time and so much wasted money that I wish I knew when I first started up my clothing brand. I can't tell you how valuable this would have been for me to know when I first started up my journey, and I hope it's the same for you. So here it is. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd's a logo maker tool. You type in the name of the logo that you want to have made, hit enter, thousands of logos will come up. You choose the logo that you like, then you can edit and refine that logo as long as you want for free until it's perfect. This is a Hundo P design I made for my own clothing brand using BrandCrowd. If you're interested, head over to brandcrowd.com/apparel success and you can get up to 66% off at checkout. All right, so now I need to deliver on that insane intro that I had to this video, pumping this thing up. And I want to share with you some extremely rare insights here into how to build a successful clothing brand, how to start a legit clothing brand. The first thing that you need to do when you start up a clothing brand is obviously come up with your brand idea, come up with the concept, and come up with your brand name. And the tip that I have for you here for coming up with your brand concept and your brand name is to please make your brand around something that you personally resonate and that's authentic to you. I can't explain to you how important this will be moving forward when it comes to actually building out all the content for your brand, building your website, talking to your audience as the founder, trying to sell, trying to connect on a personal level with your audience. It's so hard to do that, building a brand for a niche that you're not personally a part of. This honestly might be the single greatest hack when it comes to creating a successful clothing brand that so few people really think about when they're first getting started. What I see all the time are clothing brands that start up and they try and build a brand going after a particular niche that they're not even a part of themselves. And what ends up happening is when you go to create your content, you can't really connect on that personal level with the audience because you're not a part of it yourself. It lacks that authenticity and people can just feel that emanating off of your brand. So when it comes to choosing your brand concept, choosing the name of your brand, make sure it's something that you resonate with fully. That's truly like in line with who you are, where you're gonna be stoked about it. It is who you are, and you have no shame talking about it publicly or sharing it with the world. And the second tip that I have for you when it comes to starting a clothing brand, this is so important. I can't stress enough just how important this is. Launching with as little number of products as you possibly can when you first get started. What so many new clothing brands do when they first start up their brand is they get carried away dreaming about all the success that they're going to have with their brand. They assume that they're going to be able to sell out of all of their clothing super quickly, super fast. Everybody's going to want it. And so they stock up on an insane amount of inventory when they first start up their brand and they haven't even sold a single article of clothing yet. I fell into this trap when I first started up my clothing brand back in 2016. We launched with 400 t-shirts, which when you're first starting up, you haven't even sold anything yet. 400 t-shirts is a lot to sell through. If you haven't even gotten proof of concept yet, you don't even know how your designs are going to do when you launch with 400 t-shirts. In hindsight, what I would have done is launch with the minimum order quantity. Maybe place an order for like 50 t-shirts or 25 t-shirts. Try and sell through those. Get a feeling for how the designs are selling. Get a feeling for how everything is flowing. And if they continue to sell, you can always re-up your inventory and buy more inventory and start selling again. But honestly, I just see this way too frequently from new clothing brands pigeonholing themselves, buying way too much inventory out of the gate that they can't sell, and now they're stuck with all this inventory that they can't sell. They can't move on to new designs because they invested all their money into those first designs that aren't selling, and you can end up just pigeonholing yourself and getting stuck. So don't make that mistake. The third tip that I have for you when it comes to starting a clothing brand that I really want you to take some notes on and use as a guide for your brand is when it comes to actually building your brand identity, you want to make sure that your whole brand that you're building is cohesive. And so I have a couple of rules here. When it comes to the colors that you're using for your brand, try and only use 2 or 3 colors for your brand max. If you go off and start using like 5 or 6 different colors, it becomes really hard to keep your brand consistent, to keep that messaging consistent on your website, on your social media, in all of your designs. So pick a couple of colors and really stick with those for your brand identity. Another thing is that when it comes to your brand guidelines and you're thinking about which typefaces to use on your website, the different types of fonts to use in your logo, pick only 2 or 3 fonts to use everywhere and just stick to using those fonts only. This is something that I got carried away with my own clothing brand. I just didn't understand this. I didn't know this about branding and building a brand identity and the importance of consistency. And I wish I knew this when I first started, because keeping all of that really tight and consistent from the beginning will give you that nice, cohesive brand identity that you can build forward into the future, that lasts over time, where it's not switching from different fonts all the time, it's not switching from different colors. You've got that really strong brand identity right from the beginning to start selling and building. The 4th tip that I have for you when it comes to starting your clothing brand has to do with finding manufacturers and sourcing your products. Now, I've worked with dozens of different manufacturers over the past 7 years, building my own clothing brand, and so I know what I'm talking about here, and I've learned these lessons the hard way, so I really hope that you take this to heart. What I recommend that you do is you find a one-stop shop when it comes to manufacturing and making your products that can do everything for you in one place. There's a tendency to want to go to different places to get your hats, then to get those hats embroidered at a different place, get your t-shirts from one place, get them printed at a different place, and all of that becomes very logistically complex. It really affects the supply chain of actually being able to receive everything in a timely manner and being able to organize everything well. And what I learned over the years is that when I just work with one company who can do everything, it ends up being amazing and everything starts flowing a lot easier. I work with a company out of Toronto called Astro Screen Printing. For anybody who's in Canada or anybody who wants to look them up, they're absolutely amazing. I'm not being paid to share them. I just love working with them. We've been working together for the past 6 or 7 years now, and they basically do everything for me. I tell them the type of t-shirt that I want to get printed. I tell them the type of print that I want. Even if I need some help with designs, they can rework the designs. And having all of that in one place where they can just do all of that for you is absolutely key for me. I can't tell you how important that's been for my brand. And so look for that for your own brand, just a place that can do end-to-end product development. And the last tip that I have for you is the most important when it comes to your ability to actually get results for your brand when you start to market your brand, which is that systems are the foundation for getting results for your brand. The brands that fail, the brands that don't get any results for their brand, post every once in a while. They maybe post once or twice a week, or maybe even never really post or do anything consistently, and they expect people to just find their brand on their own. The brands that are all crushing it, the brands that are getting amazing results on TikTok or Instagram Reels, all have a system in place where they're pumping out content, they're pumping out ads or working their ads in a way where there's a system of getting in front of your target audience regularly that unlocks something known as the compound effect. The compound effect is where the small little actions that you're taking compound over time to produce massive results in the future. And I can honestly attribute all of the success in my brand to having systems in place when it comes to marketing. Where other brands would only post for a couple days and then stop, I would do it for 6 straight months, 3 times a day, and the compound effect of that just over time unlocks insane results for your brand. And you can look at this in a whole bunch of different ways. You can do this either in the content that you're putting out, being really, really consistent with your systems there and how you're pushing out content. Your systems could be in how often you're engaging with your target audience. Maybe every day you spend 2 hours just writing in the DMs or commenting on people's posts and getting in front of them that way. Or it could be in the ads that you're running. Every single day you have a system of canceling old ads that aren't working, introducing new ads, and running that all the time. But whatever it is, you need to understand that having a system in place where you're pushing this out all the time regularly is going to unlock the compound effect, and it's what's going to actually enable you to get those amazing results that you're after. I spent a full month recording a 100% free clothing brand course for anybody starting up a clothing brand right now. All you have to do to get access is go to freeclothingcourse.com. You can go through it at your own pace, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.